Hey y'all, it's your Queen Pimp Son Kids coming through right quick, right fast with a Royale review. And today's Royale review is focused on Girlfriends Season 1, Episode 3. Now, my OGs of the crew might be like, didn't you already do this with a friend? Yeah, I did do it before with a former friend, and that video is no longer up, as that person and I are no longer cool. And while I debated hard on whether or not to take that video down, I decided on taking it down because even though it's a great review and all of that, I don't want that residual energy on my channel. So, it is what it is. And here I am once again to do it solo dolo. I've been trying to find some buddies, but the scheduling and all of that. Just because I feel like girlfriends reviews are best to do with a girlfriend or, just a friend. But it's what it is. So here I am. Here I am. The Mac is clear. I am. Hey, okay. Anywho, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into. So, the top of this episode starts off with Tony in Joan's house being her prissy weirdo self. Joan walks in like, what are you doing? What's happening? Why are you in here? What's going on? And so, of course, this is one of the many implications of Joan's space kind of being or having a revolving door. There's a lack of boundaries. People are able to just walk in and out of her space without permission, without invitation, and just do what they do, child. So Tony flips it on her, talking about you first because all indication Joan has showed up later than usual. And Joan goes ahead and explains that Lynn was late picking her up. She had to let her use her car. And Lynn talking about because she had to drive to Tijuana and do this and that and chop it up with Pablo and all this, that, and the third. So, baby, Lynn, what you got going on, girl? Some extracurricular activities going on. Now, the way she described it, like she playing Uber, okay? But that Ubering she doing might have some illegalities. But we ain't get too deep into it because Tony and Joan don't even want to ask. And so Tony is getting all the pleasantries out the way with Joan, asking her how it was work, because she over her cramps and all this, that, and the third. Joan about to get on the phone, and Tony is like, you ain't even notice. And Joan is like, what you talking about? Tony is like, these shoes, the Michelle Perry's that you wanted. They didn't have them in your size. Well, I got them here. And Joan is like, oh my gosh, thank you. You shouldn't have them. I'm surprised you don't have them on. And Tony is like, I was just trying them on. Now, you know anything about Tony, you know that Tony is quite selfish. So one must inquire what she wants. Now, what I think she wants is favor in friendship, because season 1, Maya is new to the group and Tony is having a hard time with it. And in these Girlfriends reviews, you're gonna hear me point out a lot of indications and implications of the effects and impacts of colorism and featureism in society, as well as racism also, and of course misogyny and misogynoir and all of that. And the reason for that is because it is in the writing, it is in the text, it is a conversation quite a few times actually in the show, and many people may not have recognized or realized that in the early 2000s when this show was first airing. But yeah, this show actually covers those topics quite heavily, and I feel like it's definitely inevitable. Well, it should be inevitable when you have shows that are focused around women, i.e., women of color, i.e., black women in particular, because those are realities in the lives of black women. There is a lot of colorism and featureism that goes on, and it's not always in the form of derogatory slurs and terms and insults. It's usually how people are responding to circumstances, certain circumstances, and how people are responding to certain people. But, we'll bring more clarity to that when those things come up. However, I say that to say now that a lot of Tony's insecurities are budded in where she is in the hierarchy of society as a dark-skinned black woman. And a lot of that is triggered by the changes that Maya brings into the group. And so Tony's way of coping with that is through classism against Maya. They are both brown-skinned black women, but Maya is lighter than Tony. Maya, next to Joan, next to Lynn, next to me, is considered dark-skinned, but compared to and from the perspective of someone of Tony's skin tone, she's lighter, even though there's still their recognition that she's not light skin. She also has more narrow features, and that's where the response to the indoctrination of featureism can also come in. Maya's also from the hood, in which Tony is not from the hood, but she is not from like generational wealth or anything. She's not from the suburbs. She's from the country. And so she has her own insecurities about that, which is also a response to classism. And so when faced with Maya, like I said, her way of coping with that is through classism. And she can't quite put together why Joan would be friends with her. And I'm trying to put this in the simplest of terms so that I don't spend too long right here in this particular sector of things, because it's going to be many more episodes and many more situations where we can have a more in-depth conversation about that dynamic. But all that to say, Tony is using these shoes as a extension tactic, active display of her using classism to trump Maya. So you see how Tony thinks in a very hierarchical way, in which I don't blame her, because that's what society has done. So yeah, her using these shoes is not just, oh, I want to do a nice thing for my friend who does nice things for me. It's, Maya can't buy you this, but I can. So don't forget who is your first priority best friend. That's all of that is. And I wanted to pinpoint and note all of those details about the featureism and the colorism in this particular instant, because it also brings to the attention how detailed and strategic the writing is. And how tight the writing is, and how tight the character development is, because it's a plethora of things that Tony could have done to assert her dominance as a friend, if you will, right? But she chose to buy some very expensive designer shoes, practically, rare or whatever, because they didn't have Joan's size. And just off observation, Joan is a rather tall woman, so it could be indicated that she probably has a pretty large foot for a woman. And so that store probably didn't have her size, because a lot of shoe makes be tripping off making large size and sometimes very small size shoes. So sometimes you have to either go to special types of stores, or you have to custom order them, stuff like that. So yeah, that was a very that was a very capitalistic way, if you will, of Tony doing that. Not to mention, it also fits right in with her career of being a realtor. And so we cut to the opening credits. My girlfriends, they'll do thick and thin. My girlfriends, all that. Okay. It picks up later on that night. The girls are getting ready to go out to the club, but they a little behind because they waiting on Maya, likely because she is a wife and a mother. Now, I think that's another layer of jealousy or whatever that Tony could also have for Maya. Anywho. But Tony is like, why we gotta wait on her? She already got what we're going out to find. And that's always been a weird concept to me, going out to the club to find a man. I can see going out to the club to find a sneaky link, going out to the club to, mingle, find some associates. But to find a man and have the full intent and mindset ideal of longevity, just like that. Like, if it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying? But I always been a person that likes to meet people organically, as opposed to going out looking for them. You know what I'm saying? But this is also before heavy social media and all of that. Even though I ain't really big on finding lovers through social media either, because them folks could be anybody, you know what I'm saying? If it happens, it happens. And, those things have been successful for some people. But, like I said, all in all, I ain't ever been the looking for love type person, you know what I'm saying? I like to let love come to me. But yeah, so, interesting. But y'all let me know. You ever go to the club looking for somebody? Did you find them? What was it like? Did you like what you found? Did you at some point realize that what you had found could have been left where it was altogether? Let me know. Anywho. But yeah, Tony why we gotta wait on her? And Joan is cause she is our friend. And she says it in a way she gotta remind Tony she's our friend. Be nice. And Lynn is I like Maya. And Tony is talking about she tolerate her too, but she late. Gush. Just looking for any reason to cut Maya out. So she's talking about, when did our threesome become a foursome? Matter of fact, when did our twosome become a threesome? Looking over at Lynn. And Lynn was like, when you wanted to be on the dean's list and I was doing them. Tisk. So Maya finally arrives at the door and Joan tells Tony to be nice. Lynn funny gonna say, oh, come on, Joan, give her something that she can do. Tisk. Now, some folks probably ain't gonna like when I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because that's how I feel. And I'm gonna also give props where props are due. Now, what I'm talking about is Maya fashion reviews, okay? Maya fashion reviews. Now, the props I'm gonna give what they do is shouts out to the costume design department, because they understood the assignment. They understood that Maya is at the projects. She is not rich, you know what I'm saying? But she on the come up. And she has fashion sense. Her mama is a designer, you know, and she got major potential. She got major potential. She got major potential, okay? And of course, she working for Joan. She is on her way to a new tax bracket, all right? And she's surrounded by her more well-to-do friends. And so when in Rome, you gotta do as. And so as we find out very soon, Maya is also cultured. So there's that. And it definitely shows in what she does put together. This is showing the fashion of someone who has fashion sense but may not have the coin to really, the coin or the exposure to different walks of life, like talking about, to really put it all together in a coherent way. Now, granted, she done been places, and you can see that she done been places. It's just that it's like she got it, but she ain't got it. But she still got it. It's just some parts of it that she still ain't got. You feel me? Okay. So, with all that being said, this here outfit that she comes in with to go to the club. One, I think that dress would have been nice had it not past her knees and had it actually been without the shawl, the wrap, right? Howsoever, I do understand that this is a married woman we looking at, right? And all married women ain't got to be out here, you know what I'm saying, covering it all up. You do what you do, okay? Howsoever, we know, most of us should know at least, the type of man that Maya is married to, and he don't play that. So it is to be inferred that this is giving the indication that he don't play that. So that's why she got on that wrap, and that's why that dress goes over them knees, cause he don't play that. Okay, so the way she put it together, when she walks in, I couldn't get a good view of her shoes, but I know, and I saw enough of them to know that they are white. They are along the same tone of the wrap that she has on. So there we get, how she got some parts of it, because that's also not a bad dress. The thing is, it's not exactly her color. It's not the best color for her. And it's rather ill-fitted. Like, it looks a tad too big for her. And so it already looks like it's swallowing her a little bit. And then you put the wrap over it and it's just swallowing her even more. She kind of look a little homeless, or like she is fleeing from a drastic situation of some sort. It just kind of makes it look like that. Like, her man got into it at the dinner party and she ran. You know what I'm saying? Because on top of that, this distressed wig that they put on her, again, showing that she got it, but she ain't got it. Because whoever tried to do to the wig is, decent, but the wig itself is a fool. The wig itself is a fool. And from the shoes that I saw that she had on, they were open toe and looked like they had some type of like little flimsy bow on the front or something like that. And it's just like, no. That dress would have looked better with, you know what I'm saying, a little modest pump. A modest pump. Okay. Could have been white, off-tone white, that same tone of like, you know what I'm saying, a crew white or whatever that she got on there for the wrap or whatever, but a pump nonetheless. But her makeup looks good. Skin is popping, all that. And okay, and Maya always got the confidence no matter what she got on. So she be serving regardless. Now, done talking about her outfit. And also, this is going to serve for us to see the glow up as we go through these reviews, okay? So, yeah. Enough about her outfit. So Maya walks in. She's like, what y'all doing? I'm only single for the next 4 hours. Let's get it. And John is like, oh, that's a beautiful wrap you got on. And she like, thank you, girl. I got it from the boy on my shed and Patty. As friends. And Tony gonna say, girl, the closest you done got to friends is French toast at Denny's. Oh, that's a read. So Maya's like, excuse him, why biatch? Joan is trying to intervene, and Maya is like, girl, bye. For your information, Tony, I went to Paris so I can learn how to talk French. And Tony gonna say, well, baby, you gonna have to learn how to speak English first. And Maya's like, baby, I'm fluent in whoop ass. How would you like a little bit of that? And Leah talking about, I'm thinking there's some sexual tension between y'all. Tony said, oh, no, ma'am, she can't afford this. And Maya counters that, and it's like, John, let me use your phone so I can call my husband, because you see that's what you do when you have a husband. And baby, they got John taking her back in the fourth, and because she feel like she got hit in the crossfire with that one. And so here we go. Tony is triggered and totally fixated on this narrative of wanting to believe that Maya is lying, that she's been to France. And in her mind, because she ain't never been to France, ain't no way Maya has ever been to France. I'm going to do a whole video in itself on I'm gonna probably end up doing a couple of videos itself on this particular dynamic, but she is fixated on finding an issue with anything that Maya says and does, and she hasn't been able to make her look undesirable in the classist ways, so now she wants to make her look like a liar. Which would be something to trigger Joan, as a lawyer. So that's good writing. But Joan is not buying none of that, and she not fixated on none of that, because one, she peeps that Tony is just being a weirdo as usual. And she like, her husband works for airline, so it's very possible that she could have, had some points, a discount or something up, and she could have went, you know what I'm saying? Tony still ain't trying to hear that. So Maya pops up off the phone and is like, yo, got us on a list at Creep where some rapper got shot or whatever. So, it's somewhere it's somewhere in the boondocks, child. Somewhere a little ratchet. But the girls are excited nonetheless, and I don't blame them, because ratchet usually mean fun. So let's get it, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure you know how to duck. Make sure you know how to run and zigzag, okay? But Tony is feeling like she know the man there is gonna be broke. So she want to go to Liquid City. And Joan is like, no, she already got us on the list at the Creep. And Tony's like, why are you taking sides? And she like, it's not about taking sides. We just ain't ever got into Liquid City. Like, it's hella exclusive. And we already got to wait into Creep. And Tony is like, they got to let us in. My girls are perky tonight. And they are. Tony look real good in this episode. And Lynn is like, Perky is such a tease. I'm just gonna get up there and take my top off. I'm with Lynn, baby. That's the spirit. Take your shirt off. Twist it around your head just like a helicopter. But Maya's like, okay, y'all want to go to that. I can get us into there too. And Tony gonna say, baby, I'm talking about Liquid City on Rodeo, not liquor store on Rodeo. And Maya's like, girl, you tried it. Last time I played with a black Barbie doll, I ripped her head off. Tisk. Baby, I'm scared of you. And Joan is like, stop it. And I love the days when Joan had her segue internal in her mind scenes, because we get one of those and to pop up and see like, see, this is why there's never going to be a black friends, why we all can't just get along. She starts imagining if she actually had a crew of white girlfriends on the verge. and quickly realizes she don't want that either. So you gotta use what you got to get what you want, boo. And my bad, she said all black real world. Child, that would be dope. Don't sleep. They need to go ahead and do that. But y'all know this is the early 2000s where they were saying all types of stuff like that they, you know what I'm saying, just, shouldn't be saying. Yeah, this is kind of like one of them respectability politic episode. That's also a theme that shows up a lot. We'll talk about that a little later. But the general consensus that Jones comes to is that she ready to go shake a tail, drop it low, bring it up slow, okay? She is ready to go dip it and do it. She said, baby, we is going to the creep. Get your crap. Let's go. And Tony's like, baby, if that's what you want to go do, you want to go swim in a swamp, you do that. But I'm going to Liquid City. And John is like, okay, whatever. We just gonna go to Creep. Maya like, we going to Liquid City. Because Maya got to prove the point that she is not a liar. And John is like, no, I don't want to be a part of teaching Tony a lesson. And Maya's like, fine, stay here. Well, I'm going to Liquid City. Lynn, you coming or you going? Lynn said, I don't care where we go. This tube top is coming off. Period. To Liquid City and away, they say. So we catch up with Tony at Liquid City, pushing her way through the crowd to get to the front of the line to try to push her way into the club. And your boy Trey, who we learn is Maya's cousin. Trey, look at her talking about who you supposed to be. She's talking about, I'm supposed to be in there. And he said, and I'm supposed to be on the Oakland Raiders. Life's not fair. Paula Tink Tink. So William step up as Tony is about to walk away in despair and disappointment. And she like, William, what you doing here? He like, I'm not all about work. I like to come and relax and take the edge off and all this, that, and the third. And Tony is like, baby, it's over. If they ain't let me in there, I know they're not gonna let you up in there. And he like, I've been here for the past couple of nights. I built up a good rapport with Trey. He said I might get lucky tonight. Now, I don't know if that had some homosexual undertones, which I'm thinking it may have, and it's got me wondering about who all is Trey letting up in here. What are the qualifications for getting into this club if William is having to kind of flirt, if you will? But he gets up there and you can see the immediate change in Trey's tone and even his facial expression and his posture. He is so happy to see William. And he's about to let him in until William is like, yeah, because William's like, I'm trying to get in, have a good time. Yeah. Trey was like, you trying to come, you ready to have a good time and all of that? And William is like, yeah, in the club, right? With women. And Trey is like, or, men, whatever you're into. And he's about to let him in the club. And then Tony step up, I'm with him. And William halfway claims her and he like, nah, I'm good on that. And child, I never noticed it before. But looking at it again here and thinking about it, because I started to really wonder what are the qualifications for getting in here. It makes me feel like this is some implication of the divide between gay men and black women. And let me be clear, I'm in no way saying that all black gay men or all gay men have misogynoir issues. And what misogynoir is, for those of you who may not know, is the specific hatred, disdain, disregard for black women in particular, particularly monoracial black women. And to clarify what monoracial means, it means that person, it's about the social construct and society's understanding of what a particular race looks like. So when I say monoracial black in reference to Tony, it means in simple terms that she is obviously black. Mono, one, racial, referring to her phenotype, meaning that she has one consistent phenotype as we understand what black looks like, as it refers to the social construct of it. Okay? Because in actuality, black has a variety of different looks, and we see that with this cast. We see that with this cast. And being light skinned don't automatically mean biracial or racially ambiguous, but that's how we're taught to see it. But that's a conversation for another time. And I may find the clip of someone who kind of explained the 50 Shades of Black concept, the understanding that black has a plethora of different aesthetics. Tisa Tales on YouTube. Tisa Tales? Yeah. Tisa Tales on YouTube had a video, and I took a screen recording of that particular segment where she was explaining how we're taught to see racial ambiguity, if you will. But like I said, conversation for another time. But I said all that to say that this particular exchange right here, what I'm noticing is showing us that misogynoir that some gay men have towards monoracial black women specifically. And I want to clarify too why Tony would be considered monoracial versus Maya. And this is where the featureism comes in again. Maya having more narrow features, Maya having that more two-toned, more warm brown complexion, where her undertone is a little lighter, so she appears more lighter and more in-between colored in comparison to Tony and when standing amongst the girlfriends, if you will. So in certain crowds, in certain regions, Maya would be perceived and referred to as an exotic black girl or a quote unquote pretty for a dark skinned girl. That's the type of ignorant stuff that people would refer to Maya as in certain regions and in certain crowds of people. Okay? So outside of Trey being cousins with Maya, people in general who have a misogynoir issue, they would treat Maya better than Tony. So keeping that in mind as we think about and as I go through discussing Tony's reaction to this whole situation. And let me clarify too, which I just said, people who have a misogynoir issue, because I want to make it clear that misogynoir is not an exclusive feeling to gay men or an exclusive mindset to gay men. White men can have a misogynoir mindset, hatred towards black women, specifically monoracial black women. Black men can have a misogynoir mindset. Light-skinned women can have a misogynoir mindset, but in that particular display, it would be called colorism. You see what I'm saying? Dark-skinned black women can have misogynoir mindset, but that would be called self-hate. And when brown or dark-skinned black women have those feelings or experiences of self-hate in that way, and their reaction to such a thing is lashed out towards one another, somewhat like we see with Tony doing with Maya. However, if it was flipped, if Maya was treating Tony the way that Tony is treating Maya, that would be considered featureism. And the reason why it's different is because in that particular case, Maya has more societal leverage over Tony. Doesn't mean that Maya doesn't have her own struggles. It's just certain struggles that she don't have, like Tony. Just like it's certain struggles that Joan don't have, like Maya and Tony. And it's certain struggles that Lynn don't have, like Joan, Maya, and Tony. You see? Okay. And so what Tony has going on is self-hate as a response to being positioned lower in the hierarchy. Because of colorism, featureism, misogynoir, all of that being stacked on top of her journey in life, she has self-hating responses to certain things. So that's one thing that makes Tony very interesting, because I think it would be easy to, or probably is easy for a lot of people to just throw Tony away and, villainize her and all of that. But when you really get to the crux of what the root of everything is, it allows you to understand her more. And which, like I said, that's fixing to have an effect on how I view this particular fight scene, right? So, yeah. All that to say, once again, that I think we have some misogynoir going on with your boy Trey at the door. Not only misogynoir, but him, using his desires as a bias, okay? Is you letting only the men that you attracted to through the door, sir? So, with that being said, is it also some not colorism, but is it also some classism going on? Is it also some classism that you're putting down, Mr. Trey? Because William ain't all that. So you must just see that he got money. And you automatically assume that Tony don't have money and that Tony ain't gonna go in there and, try to spend nothing because she a dark-skinned monoracial black woman. Is that what you assuming, sir? Terrible, a shame, and a scandal. Shout out to Aston Shanae, a.k.a. For the Love of Juice. Anywho. What's the name? Maya and them. Maya, Joan, and Lynn show up, rush their way to the front the same way that Tony did. However, we get a different outcome because, simple terms, simple layers, Trey is Maya's cousin. And so we also get an implication of it ain't what you know, but it's who you know, okay? And Maya knows this young man, and this young man finna let her in, okay? And he said, who you all got with you? And she like, 1, 2, 3, pointing to John, Lynn, and William. Now, mind you, before this, Tony was still trying to talk crap before, they made it all the way up to the front of the line to, do all the pleasantries and whatnot. And Maya was like, I'm finna get them in and this and that, da-da-da-da. And Tony was talking about, yeah, and I guess after that, she gonna take you out of France, too. And Maya was like, well, we'll get to France before you get in this club. And And again, I'm gonna point out, Tony trying to get her a little ounce of power back because, of course, she felt defeated by those 2 back-to-back rejections that she just had. So she had to try to get a little power back by shading Maya while she on her way up there. And this is also in hopes, wishful thinking, and hoping that Maya would get turned around too. So Maya don't get turned around, y'all. Like I said, she was about to get let through, and she called out the crew that she was gonna let through with her, and it did not include Tony. So Tony started pleading to Joan to get Maya to let her in. And Joan is like, I'm not the one with the connect. You gotta, be nice to Maya. And remember me saying that Tony had an agenda when she was giving Joan them shoes? This is my first time really hearing this. I don't know. I might have mentioned it when we did the reaction and just forgot. But she literally yells out to Joan after Joan is like, Maya's the one with the connect. Tony yells out, but I bought you expensive shoes. See, confirms my theory. But yeah, Joan is like, please, Maya, please get her in. Maya give her a little hard time at first, but she goes ahead and says, Trey, go ahead, let the girl in, her right there. He points out Tony, and child, Tony started rushing to the front, and this other girl with a low cut and a bad attitude start piping up and popping off. And she like, I think he was talking to me. And I'm like, girl, what exactly made you think that he could be talking to you? Wishful thinking? I don't know. But Tony is like, no, I believe he was talking to me, which he was. And Joan is like, no, actually he was talking to her. And Tony is like, don't back down from this heifer. And the girl was like, first of all, who was talking to you, bitch? And Joan was like, I'm just trying to explain. And that's when Tony was like, don't be backing down from this heifer. And baby, low cut and bad attitude walks over to her friend like, hold my earrings, cause this girl got me messed up. And Tony is like, well, John was trying to get her to walk off. And Tony was like, I'm not gonna back down from this girl. I'm tired of these girls walking up to me trying to fight, thinking I'm gonna back down just cause I'm all cute. And the girl walked back over, what you got to say now? And Joan and Joan was like, nothing, we're cool, I'm cool, she's cool, I hope you're cool. Tony, let's go. And I ain't gonna lie, Joan Slick had the right energy, let's just avoid the conflict, let's just go in, let's just have a good time. But it's a battle of the egos going on right here. And this is low-key, high-key, another level. And I want to point out, too, that a lot of this is heightened because they are at the club. And I think it's a perfect time also for me to point out and clarify. All dark-skinned women are not consumed with the downside of all the isms. However, depending on the person, depending on the region, and depending on the circumstance and the crowd and all of that, and also the upbringing and things, a lot of dark-skinned black women do rightfully and reasonably have built up, pent up frustration, sadness, insecurity, self-hate for some, as a, like I said, reasonable and rightful response to the drastic way that society treats them. And you see a lot of that, the pent-up frustration and anger and all of that come out in seemingly minuscule situations like this, where particularly women are fighting and you feel like it's something small. On the surface, it's something very, like I said, minuscule. But when you really break it down and get to the nitty-gritty and the depths and the roots of the situation, it goes back to all of those isms that were indoctrinated through slavery. And much of it is very subconscious now, which is why it tends to blow up and run it over in seemingly minuscule situations like this. Because this is essentially a battle of the egos. Like I said, House of Never, it's got all them layers because of the isms. And being the fact that not only are they at the club where a lot of those isms are used as marketing tools, such as, like I said, Trey could have assumed that Tony ain't had no money because she is a monoracial black woman, monoracial dark-skinned black woman. So you in a place already, the club, that uses pretty privilege and classism, which is rooted in racism and colorism and featureism and all that. So it heightens the microaggressions and therefore the built up anger and, rightful and reasonable responses to that. However, because the power dynamics are imbalanced, a lot of the time the anger ends up being misdirected. And what is the purpose of slave masters implementing all of those divisive isms? To divide and conquer. Therefore, you leave those who are seen as at the most bottom fighting each other. And not only is this a club, but it's a club in LA. It's a upscale, quote unquote, club in LA. If they had went to the Creep, it probably wouldn't have been all that. It probably wouldn't have had so many of them isms attached to it. But because they're in an upscale club in LA, it adds all of that, like, entertainment industry. So it emphasizes and heightens the isms. I hope you're following me here. So yeah, getting back to the scuffle. After blonde shorty to the left stepped to Tony, what is it giving? Run up, get done up. Jones kind of successfully had diffused the situation and was getting Tony to walk off, and the girl started talking more crap on some shady stuff, talking about you lucky your girl stepped in and saved you with your bony ass. Terrible. So Tony gonna say, my bony ass is fine, you bald-headed biatch. Why she say that? Why she say that? Nuck if you buck. Nuck if you buck. Nuck if you buck. What? The girl sneak attacks Tony from behind, and the rest of her crew commence to jump and shouty. Why they have to jump? Tony ain't even that big or whatever. I mean, she got a little height on her, but Tony is not all that to be jumping. You could have fought Tony one-on-one. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. She wasn't ready. But child, Lynn was ready. Lynn was the first one out the girlfriend's bout that action. Now, I don't know if this is just because Lynn got all that Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius be ready for a thrill, baby. Ready for any type of thrill. So, fight break off, especially if they friend involved, they jump in. But that's the thing about Sagittarius too. Sagittarius tend to ride or die for they friends. So, I wonder if Lynn's zodiac sign would be Sagittarius. Either way, I want Lynn on my team. I go anywhere, have any type of conflict, I want Lynn on my team. Because, baby, she pushed everybody out the way to get up there to karate chop whoever she had to karate chop for the sake of her friend. Okay? Shout out to Lynn. Okay? She got up there before Maya. But you know what I'm saying? Maya don't even like Tony like this. So, whatever. But even still, Maya jumped in and John ain't even jump in. And that's where we encounter the problem. Well, the biggest problem that Tony ends up having in this situation. So Joan is yelling, William, do something. William talking about, girl fight, girl fight, girl fight. Just excited over the situation. Okay? And so that tells you a lot about, how serious people take women. Okay? Okay. And I done talked enough about isms for us to be able to put together what that is, okay? So Joan is standing to the side just freaking out. And we get another her like, in my mind bubbles. And she like, oh my God, my girls need my help. You don't say, shouty, you don't say. And she just standing over there having a whole conniption. She talking about do something, pull some hair. Oh my gosh, not your own. Yeah, not your own, girl. Throw a shoe or something. Yeah, I know you don't want to jump in because you're a lawyer and everything, and you don't want to ruin your own life off this little fight. But throw something. Push somebody into somebody or something. Pinch a bitch. Something. She starts screaming sidebar, and I have no idea what that means. But she yelling it for dear life. Oh, child. And I ain't gonna be too hard on Joan because you gotta know your friends, okay? Because first and foremost, you gotta know yourself. And you gotta know that if you ain't much of a fighter, you gotta know that you got some friends that can fight, okay? Or at least will fight. And for the most part, Tony did have some friends that could do a little tussle and were willing to fight and jumped in on her behalf, okay? So, all at the same time, damn, Joan. I'm trying to help you out. But, damn. But I'ma still say and feel like you had to know Joan just wasn't that friend and wasn't gonna be that friend. So don't put Joan in situations where she might have to jump into a fight for you. Because she ain't gonna do it. And you gonna waste your energy being upset with her. But I still understand why Tony was upset, because you would have thought out of all the friends that Joan would have done something. Ran inside and grabbed the punch bowl or something and came out and poured it on everybody. Ran inside, kicked the hydrant thing loose and made water go all over everybody or something. 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 You would have thought she faked a heart attack or something. I don't know. Something, child. Something. You would have thought she was quicker on her feet than that. But Joan does show a lot of signs of anxiety. And that can, kind of paralyze a person. So maybe she had all that going on too. Child. It's just unfortunate. And I see both sides. Okay, so we get to the outcome of the tussle, honey. And about everybody done lost something. Maya done lost her toe ring. Tony done lost her shoes. Is it both of them or just one of them? I think it's just one of them, child. She done lost her shoe. And Lynn done lost her feeling and her tooth. Honey, she done bit one of the girls and lost her whole feeling. Bless they heart. Bless they heart. William is cracking jokes on the side talking about you girls are amazing. And they say women shouldn't be in combat. I think I'm going to have to rethink my stance on that. Just all the misogyny oozing out. All the pig-headedness just oozing out. Maya points out that it's a Gucci in the clutch. I mean, not in the clutch, child. In the gutter. It's a Gucci in the gutter. A Gucci shoe in the gutter. And Tony's like, that ain't my Gucci, but I'll take it, I guess. Davis walks in with all of his misogyny and all of his respectability politicking, talking about, I heard there were women fighting in front of the club. And I said, please don't let it be black women. But not only is it black women, but black women I know. Don't y'all be ashamed of y'all still fighting in front of white people. And that's just a whole lot of hoopla, a whole lot of ignorance coming out of his mouth. Now, while I just went through elaborating upon the isms that I felt like influenced the fight, in no way does that mean that black people or black women are the only people that fight. So fighting in front of white people is what? Because white people fight too. Mexican people fight. Chinese people fight. Everybody fight. Is in you to fight. You human? It's somewhere in you to fight. It's somewhere in Joan to fight. It just probably takes a different situation to bring it out of her. Because survival of the fittest, yeah, we're spiritual beings, you know. We have higher selves that we can tap into in order to choose our battles and all of that. But we are still human. And therefore, there is still a primal side to us that feels a need to get physical and get busy on the one. So, cut all that out with the respectability politicking. Okay? None of that. And I'm going to put it out there that Davis gets on my nerves. He is a character I'm glad didn't have a whole lot of time in the series, to be honest, because I don't like Davis. He's necessary, but I don't like him. So Joan come back with band-aids and carrying on, and Davis is like, oh, you must be an impeccable fighter because you don't have a mark on you. And William is like, in fact, she's one heck of a chicken. She just stood on the sideline and screamed. And this kicks off the disagreement between Tony and Joan. And, you know, Joan is trying to use the whole fighting in front of white people thing. Of course, we ain't hearing that. And Tony definitely ain't hearing that, because Tony's main thing, as she keeps repeating, is, I was getting my ass kicked, you my best friend, and you ain't do nothing to help me. And Joan is just not getting it, which means that she is not listening. And honestly, I feel like this is one major situation and indication, even though I understand Joan's standpoint, and I do feel like, you know, it was a battle of the egos. It wasn't that serious. It could have been avoided. It ain't have to go there. But the way Joan handles this shows her selfishness, because you're not listening. And Tony is communicating simplistically, therefore too effectively. And she's repetitively saying, you my best friend, I'm your best friend, and I was getting my ass kicked. And Joan is steady responding with everything else but I'm sorry. Like, we get that you a lawyer, we get all that, but you're not expressing any empathy for your friend. In fact, you finding reasons to blame her. Now, she does have accountability because she's a grown woman. She could have better control over herself. But them girls did try to jump her, and you ain't do Nathaniel. And that girl was popping off regardless. Like, Joan had semi-successfully diffused the situation, but that girl was still popping off. And who's to say that she wouldn't have hit Tony when they walked away, regardless of Tony saying, my ass is fine, you bald-headed bitch, and all that. That girl still probably would have hit Tony because she wanted a problem with Tony. So it's like, you're not expressing any empathy for the fact that she was getting her ass kicked. And this your best friend. Tisk. And let me also get on William. Because your big self could have at least broke it up. You standing on the sideline, egging it on and carrying on. So I would have also been salty with William just as much, or probably more, than I was salty with Joan, because his big old self could have broke it up. You ain't have to hit nobody. You could have broke it up. That's what you a man for. That's what you got all that strength for. Okay? To break it up. And child, this upscale club is supposed to be so passionate in that. Where's security at? This convo carries on into the next day at work with Joan and William. Starts off as a conversation about work, some case that William is working on, and, you know, something that he plans to do in the midst of the court session and all that. And Joan is like, you know, you can tag me in if you need a little assistance or whatever. And William crack a joke like, yeah, I seen your version of backup. I think I'll pass. And Joan is talking about, please, you just wanted to see one more woman in the cat fight. You don't care about who's right or wrong or none of that, this, that, and the third. And William cracks more sexist jokes as she asks him, like, what excites men so much about seeing women cat fight and all of that. And he talking about making love, cat fight. We don't really care as long as y'all is touching each other. And she gives him a dirty look and all of that, basically puts him out, and he's like, okay, you don't have to hit me, but then again, what am I worried about? That's funny. But she gives him an even dirtier look, child, and he scurries on out of the room. And as he walks out, of course, Maya's office is right outside of Jones. And so she says to him, you know, William, I've been thinking about this whole black folks fighting in front of white folks thing, and I almost bought it until I thought about Don King. Ain't that how he make his millions? And honey, that made me think about Mandingo fighting. But we ain't gonna stay on that subject too long. Moving on. But Tony walks in the mist, and she has found Maya's toe ring. And Maya's like, thank you. Darnell gave this to me after our first date. So we see that has sentimental value to her. And we see that, you know, Darnell gives little gifts and shit. And she's like, where you find it? And Tony is like, lodged in my breast. I cannot. So Maya tosses the ring back, and they both try to initiate a segue conversation. Maya lets Tony go ahead, and Tony is like, well, I guess I should say that thing that you say to people when they do something nice for you. And Maya's like, thank you. And she's like, yeah, that's it. And Maya's like, you're welcome, but I'm still looking for my apology. Like, you need to apologize for calling me a liar. And Tony is trying to stand 10 toes down in it like, look, okay, you was able to pull your strings at the club, but you did not go to France. Tony is clinging to that, child. And Maya spits to her in some more very fluent, very nicely spoken French. And as a result, Tony's ignorance jumps out when she says, oh, please, my cleaning lady speaks Spanish. Doesn't mean she's been to Spain. Bless your heart, girl. And Joan runs out distraught and disheveled because Tony is walking out. You know, she heard her in there at the last minute. And Joan turns around, you know, she hollering and whatnot, trying to get Tony attention. And then she turns around and she's trying to get on Maya, talking about, why you didn't tell me Tony was in here? And da 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 da. And Maya's like, I'm not a mind reader. All this, that, and the third. And then Maya tried to get on her with some respectability politic and talking about, you can't be yelling in front of all these white people. Oh my gosh. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? And so we also get to see a quick code switch right quick, right fast. Yes, I love us for real. And we pick back up at Joan's house. She's there with Lynn. Look like she unpacking some groceries and such. And she's giving Lynn the spiel of everything that happened that day. And we pick up with her saying basically that Tony walked out without saying a word to her. Can you believe that? And Lynn is like, yeah, actually I can. Because like technically you ain't have my back either. And so Joan is like, oh, what? So you mad at me too? And Lynn is like, I probably would be if you weren't putting a roof over my head, food on my plate, clothes on my back. And Joan is like, wait a minute. So that is my shirt. And you cut it up. And then it's like, consider us even. I heard that. You know, I actually think, you know something? I felt like I read something. I don't know. Maybe it was something that I had thought of before. Lynn could be a Leo too. Between Leo and Sagittarius, Lynn is one of them. And so I imagine this is another day or a couple of days later, and we are at Davis's restaurant, where the girls go and they have brunch and lunch and all that. And yeah, so but this is dinner time, so this is at night, because Joan is saying to him, you could have added something new since lunch, which means that she was there earlier that day too, huh? So yeah. So Joan is sitting alone, and apparently she's been sitting there for a while fidgeting and ain't ordered nothing. She's stalking the crew. Davis clocks it and is like, you gonna order something, or you just gonna continue to do that so it don't look so awkward that you sitting over here by yourself? And Joan tries to play it off at first, but then she just ends up spilling all over, talking about she got no friends, she got no crew, she killed her ficus. And Davis is like, maybe I should take the menu and get you some antidepressants. No, that was kind of funny. And Joan is like, I mean, was I so wrong not to jump into the fight? And Davis is coming through with the misogyny. You know, this is why women shouldn't fight. Because you can't handle it. You get emotional. All this and that and the third. When men get into a fight on the basketball court, we just walk it off. Please. I've seen plenty of men cry and weep and moan over losing 2K. Especially you take that same energy over into an actual game, baby, it gets real emotional. The guys get real emotional, and they tussle and they read and shade for the filth, okay, in different ways, but all the same. So don't do that, Mr. Davis. And he goes from this like misogynistic rant to flipping it and saying, well, you know, you did the right thing anyway, Joan. You don't need to be fighting anyway. You're too pretty. And this is what I want to point out about that. This is why men like Davis are problematic. Because you really got some type of mommy daddy issue going on. And you be trying to get your power back in any way that you can, right? So you probably ain't really got no game either, huh? And so you got to break the women down first and then make the woman that's in your face feel special and exclusive and apart from, quote unquote, those other women as a part of your game to get close to them. Tisk. And Joan's such a pick-me, it went completely over her head. Girl, Davis is no prize. Did you hear what he just said about women? You is a women's. It don't matter that he arranged his words in a way that seemingly put you apart from women's. He's talking about you too. He has a problem. Get away from him. But we get in her mind bubble and she is just eating it all up. She's so happy to get this compliment. And she carries it on over into her interaction with him and was like, say it again. Say it again. And here he go with the you women stuff all over again. Y'all will milk a compliment. See, He can't say it because she asked him for it. It has to be a game. It has to be manipulation and some degradation attached to it. She can't just ask him for a compliment and get it. Now she's being too much. Now she's doing too much. And of course, it's played up for comedy, but that's definitely what that particular piece of comedy is rooted in. And let's remember, too, that all jokes are rooted in truth. But child, Joan turns her attention to seeing the girls commiserating at the table, and she like, that's my table, that's my table. And she is pressuring Davis to do something about it. And he like, you at this table, this your table? She like, this is my sit alone table, that's my chill with my girlfriend's table. And he's like, see, y'all women crazy. And he walks off. So she goes over, try to confront the situation. She go over there and snatch Maya away, talking about, you can have Lynn, but Maya's in this friend group because of me. So there she goes, trying to take her power back and assert her dominance. So Maya and Joan are over to Joan's little solitude table. And Maya landed on thick, talking about Tony was going to pay for my dinner, dessert, get me a Lexus, pay for a babysitter. Can you match that? And Joan was like, I can do everything except the Lexus. And Maya's like, that's fine, because she was only going to pay for my appetizer. Tisk! And Joan, here she go with her little childish butt, talking about, Tony doesn't really like you. She's just doing it to get back at me. And Maya feeds into it, and it's like, well, she likes me more than you right now, nana boo boo. And Joan is like, this is ridiculous. We acting like little schoolgirls. And real quick, this reminds me of what Tariq Nasheed was saying about Black people being positioned in the hierarchy as the children of society. So let that run through your mind as you will, as it concerns everything that's been said in this video, and things that come naturally to your mind as you reminisce on the episode in correlation with my review. Anywho, moving forward. But yeah, Joan say we acting like schoolgirls, and Maya says we'll be an adult and go over there and talk to her. So Joan commiserates to going over and talking to Tony. And Joan goes over and shoos Lynn away from the table, and she does it with a bit of bravado also, child. She has some bass in her voice. She said it with her chest. And Lynn was like, oh, where was all that moxie the other night? Tisk. I felt it. So she sit down talking to Tony, and I feel two ways about this. I feel like Joan is being controlling, but I also don't want to put too much on her head, because Tony is like, a part of Tony's point is that it seemed like you giving up so easy on me, and we supposed to be better than that. So she tries. Tony gives her a hard time at first, and she walks away. And Tony says, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, you don't value me like talking about no more. And you letting them get away with everything. You chose Maya's club over mine. You let Lynn smuggle illegal aliens in your car and all this, that, and the third. And John is like, oh, you jealous. You don't be jealous of people. People be jealous of you. And she be like, yeah, as far as looks and all this other things. And Joan like kind of hushes her up. And it's like, but I've like been there for you through everything. Basically, she's trying to say, I feel like I built up enough of repertoire to be able to, take a little bit of the attention off of you at least a couple of times. And in the midst, she lists, the selfish, heinous, disrespectful, rude, superficial, shallow stuff that Tony has done that she's stuck by her in. And Tony makes a good point. If you feel that way about me and you feel like, I've done all of this disrespectful stuff, why are you friends with me in the first place? And John is like, I don't know. You just always been in my life. You're like the bitch that I've always wanted to be. And that floats Tony's boat enough. But once again, I feel like this situation brought out how selfish and shallow Joan actually is. And with her saying that, and with her handling it like this, like, you don't have anything else to say of value as to what Tony brings to your life. Besides, in a nutshell, you feel like she makes you look better and makes you feel like the better person in the equation. So essentially, you need her next to you in order to feel exalted as perfection. And boy, I done already talked about the layers of the isms. I done already talked about the layers of the isms. And I don't think Joan mindfully participates in those isms. But what I will say is that her selfishness puts her in position to perpetuate some of those isms mindlessly and unintentionally. And it jumped out in this conversation. It kind of went over Tony's head a little bit, but it jumped out in this conversation. And I feel like that kind of plays a part in general with kind of why it's that people pleaser thing. Like, outside of the isms, Joan is a people pleaser. And some people pleasers, whether they have good intent or not, some people pleasers actually do that rooted in selfishness. It's self-serving. They're not necessarily doing it because they want to. They're not necessarily being charitable because that's truly in their heart. They're doing it because of how it makes them look. They're doing it to say that they did it. Such as Joan had just brought up every single thing that she ever did for Tony in that moment to plead her case. Because we talking about the situation at hand, but you brought up every single thing you ever done and also low-key, high-key insulted her in the process. Even though it may be truth to it, you still insulted her in the process to avoid accountability for your part. And to avoid acknowledging her point. So it makes me feel like, even though I do feel the genuine friendship, is definitely some genuine friendship going on here amongst the entire group, I also feel like at the same time, a part of Joan's egotistical connection to this group of girls is because she feels like them needing her makes her look better. It feeds her ego. And of course, a lot of the isms probably make her feel exalted over them as perfection. So yeah, we do a quick little scene of them trying to get into Liquid City again. It's just Joan and Tony this time. And Johnny has this master plan to distract everybody. And she's talking about, oh, I'm a lawyer. It's my game to create illusion and manipulate people and all of that to get to the top. And her master plan is to get to the front, yell girl fight, distract everybody, had them look away, which they did. And they also ran to try to find the girl fight, and they ran into the club. Hey, Lara T. So y'all, this is one of my favorite episodes of Girlfriends because of the fight. But not just because of the fight, because of the many layers that this particular episode has. And that's what makes Girlfriends such a great show, because each episode has so many different layers that can be unpacked, but it's delivered and distributed in a way that is seemingly simplistic and consumable. And shall I say, palatable, if you will. But outside of everything that I already discussed, another major theme that I picked up on in this episode is power plays. And I'm going to keep it simple as that. Power plays. So, based off what you know about the show, based off what you know about the episode, and based off what I discussed in this review and commentary, you can put together how that applies to you, as well as everything else I said. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe, so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.